Hello, welcome to Mega Man 8. This is a PlayStation 1 game. We're playing on a PlayStation 2 with fast disk speed. If someone is playing this on the Legacy Collection 2, it's about comparable. But that's enough about our technical details. Let's just kind of get into the run, and we can show you what's going on. This being a somewhat early PlayStation 1 game, there are some movies we're going to be skipping. I know the English version of this game has a lot of comments on the voice acting. We're just not going to get into that beyond mentioning that they exist. From there, what differentiates this game from every other Mega Man game that might be out there? We have this nice item we're about to get here named the Mega Ball. The Mega Ball is a powerful weapon in its own right, but it also gives us a lot of movement options, which we're going to see pretty much immediately. Mega Ball jumping is a core part of the Mega Man 8 run, and just manipulating this along with all of our fast weapon swapping is pretty much why we're here. So again, we can just use it to ball jump. We can drop one in front of us, and sort of almost like a soccer chest tackle, drop the ball up into an enemy, which is all really good stuff because our movement starts pretty slow in this game. You can see this agonizingly slow movement. Fortunately, Mega Ball is just stupidly powerful, whether it's kicked or planted in an enemy's face. I lovingly call this enemy Mr. Crab. Hopefully we hit him 5 times, and that's that. You got away. That's fine. It's only 3 seconds. So a lot of what we're going to see over the course of the rest of this run, there's a lot of Mega Ball usage. This being a PlayStation Mega Man game, we have access to a dedicated Mega Buster button along with our special weapon button. So we can be using special weapons while fast switching to them without having to go into the menu and use our Buster all at the same time. This gives us a ton of flexibility with weapons, unlike a lot of Mega Man games where you have to pause, go into the menu, and pick a weapon. We have a lot of access to a lot of weapons. So we're going to see that. And again, the Mega Ball's flexibility with just being able to really treat it like a soccer ball that does 3 or 4 points of damage, while still having the Mega Buster available to charge up, immediately comes into play here and leads to some nice, fun, fast strategies. And just kind of slide this ball along, building up our charge shot, and helps us, well, move fast. Mega Ball jumping. As long as you're relatively the same height, so it's near the peaks of your jumps, and of course I'm talking here, not charging, that's fine, and you're holding jump while you move into it, you will just double, triple, whatever jump out of it. As long as there's height on the screen, you can keep going. And you already saw a couple of instances where you're sliding off of ledges and using the Mega Ball right there. So again, because walking is just so slow, even though sliding feels slow, sliding's going to get faster, and sliding's always faster. So if we can get those extra pixels of slide off the ledge even, it's worth it. This is our first mid-boss. We're hoping to not see dives. We're hoping to not miss. No, there goes 4 seconds. What can we say? There we go. So the other reason we came to Grenade Man stage first is this. That is the Rush Bike. So Tengu Man is the robot master that would be weakest to Buster. So if we were solely focused on killing a robot master, it would be Tengu Man. If you're playing the game not as a speedrun, highly recommend going to Tengu Man first. But this bike is fast. We've been talking a little bit about sliding is slow, walking is slow. Well, what's fast? Your robot dog transformed into a motorcycle that fires missiles. Why not? Rush only sticks around for 40 seconds. We can summon him once per segment per life. So we use him where we can. So we're here basically to get that. We're going to use, counting that segment, Rush Bike 4 times. And Rush Bike's fast. It has a couple of other neat properties. This is Grenade Man. Mega Man 8 is fortunately a game where half charges actually do an extra point of damage. So DPS, we want to see half charges, despite the fact I'm also landing a lot of full charges. So those shots against the wall are definitely the pattern you want to see. Once Grenade Man is down to 10 hit points, his next action is going to be to jump on the wall, use that Crazy Destroyer. Kind of gives us the fight you just saw, where you just want to pelt him with half charges. Full charges if he's out of range for a little bit, and otherwise just work him down. Bosses have 40 hit points, unlike the usual 28. So we have our work cut out for us. So Flash Grenade is also a really good weapon, just in general. Feels like every game where there's a grenade that just kind of creates a large explosion in the middle of the screen, for some reason it's a really good weapon. That plus Rush Bike makes Grenade a great choice to start the speedrun. We also even already have the utility item that we're going to use for most of the run in the Mega Ball from the intro stage. Just have to jump out of the slide to actually shoot it at some of those enemies. So Mega Man 8, if there is a knock on the game, and, you know, for some reason this game's not perfect, what can I say? It is the auto-scrollers. We have a few of them. This is probably the most boring of them. We are on this sled that lots of people like to yell, jump, jump, slide, slide. And we're just kind of stuck here for a little while. You do have to pay attention, because obviously you don't want to take a death in the middle of your really long auto-scroller section. There are also 2 bolts we're looking to collect here, so let's talk about bolts. Why not? Bolts are the currency for this game. If there was a the 100% equivalent category for this game is named 40 bolts to collect all 40 of the bolts, although there's a glitch to kind of double collect one of them. We want, for this any percent speed run, we want to get at least 5 bolts, and I believe just the way it works out, there's 6 bolts that basically don't require any extra effort to get. So hopefully we have all 6 of them. This is the swag section, by the way. Hi Fred, thanks for the raid. So yeah, we are looking to get at least 5 bolts so that we can purchase the Hyper Slider, I believe is what it's called. It makes our slide go faster. Go figure, we want to go faster. Even though it takes something on the order of 15 to 20 seconds to go to the shop and pick it up, it's worth it. So this is another Rush Bike section. Rush can go through these ice blocks for some reason. So again, we went to Grenade Man first specifically to get Rush Bike. It's kind of funny because the Legacy Collection 2 has some challenges which make you go through some sections of stages, and I don't think that's one of them, but it somehow managed to pick most of the Rush Bike sections and does not give you access to the Rush Bike for them. And it's when you play those you realize just how painfully slow those sections are if you are not riding a bike. So again, we're gonna keep the Mega Ball out. I did mention earlier you want to be moving forward when you jump into the Mega Ball to be able to do the Mega Ball jumps. It works out that when you're riding a sled, you are just automatically moving fast enough to do it. So you can just hold jump and fire your Mega Ball, you will get the ball jump, which is very useful for sections like this. A lot of people, the first thing they ask about Mega Man 8 speedrunning is how tight is that timing to get the Mega Ball jumps. And they think you have to push jump again. No, you don't. Just hold jump. Just hold jump. I need to hold down so I continue sliding. Here's Frostman. Frostman takes 3 points of damage per hit from grenade. Each grenade should hit twice. If you're doing math, you might notice that with 40 hit points, 3 times 13 is 39. So we open with that lemon because it's just as good as any other hit to get that 40th hit point. Otherwise, poor Frostman just never gets out of iframes. He spends the whole fight taking damage. And as a result, we get the crazy powerful Ice Wave, which will be Tengu Man's weakness. Fred, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome everybody else to this Mega Man 8 video. Welcome to the show. This might be the submission for AGDQ. But anyway, we're going to go to Tengu Man here. As mentioned earlier, Tengu Man kind of has that flying weakness kind of thing going on. Takes extra points of damage from pretty much everything, including the Mega Buster. Ice Wave absolutely devastates him for 6 points of damage a hit. So we want to be here now. We've got some wind going on here, pushing us along a little bit. We've got some climbs here. This is... Ooh, almost dropped that. Little bit of concentration just because of the speed we're moving there. Tengu Man has 2 climbs like that, and we're going to see a lot of vertical screens be handled by Mega Ball in that fashion as the game goes on. That one requires us to take a damage boost along the way. I'm sure there are ways to do it without a damage boost, but why? We also have our Rush Jet that for some reason doesn't have a meter in this game, thanks Capcom. Gives us another one of these auto-scrollery kind of sections, a little bit of a shooter segment. We are looking, instead of options and missiles like this was a Gradius game, we're picking up our spread shot with Rush. We're going to pick up Beat. We missed Eddie. Eddie's actually really cool, really powerful, does a lot of damage with bombs. Beat, you can kind of see here. We hold a charge, Beat just hovers in front of us. And just does all sorts of damage just by existing. So we really like Beat. Otto tries his best, shows up with a giant missile launcher. It's actually not, it's not weak, but it's very slow to rate of fire. Beat, because of that, just sort of hold Beat hovering right in front of the enemies is by far the best option, to the point that right here, that was actually kind of risky. We only want Beat for this section. Beat against a mid-boss that's coming up, we just want to hold Beat in its hitbox until it explodes. That is the goal. Other helpers, they do actually similar amounts of damage, so they're not that bad. Eddie especially. But we just don't even want to deal with them. This is also the first screen we're getting to actually see the Ice Wave in action. Kind of a literal wall of ice running along the floor. Lots of jagged spikes. And it does all of the damage. So it absolutely devastates all these kind of floor panel traps. I don't even know what to call them. Here's our mid-boss. We're going to take damage off of the body of the cannon because the giant laser of destiny does a lot of damage. It does have another attack that doesn't do all the damage, but why bother? This is one of the silliest time saves in the game, just being in the corner here. We're going to go into another climb and then another screen that has wind that does push us to the right, so you got to pay a little bit of attention there. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. The trick with that climb is that... I'm sorry, this section, right? There's that point near the end where the wind does catch you, and if it pushes you into the wall, you can't wall jump to the right. You can't move left at all because of the wind, so you kind of have to be set up and ready for it. if you take a death there, it feels like it's kind of 50-50 if the game decides to give you the checkpoint at the top of the climb or not. Anyway, this is Tengu Man. We want to hit him with Ice Wave a lot. He's going to be frozen to the ground. Oh, if you hit him like when he's an inch off the ground, it doesn't hit him. And you have to start getting extra hits in. Ice Wave, I believe, does 6 out of his 40 hit points, and then you freeze him to the ground, you're now doing 12, which is disgusting. You want to see it. And of course, if I had actually frozen him to the ground there, and then hit him while he was on the ground, you know, time saves. I'm doing analysis here when I should be talking about the next stage. Clown Man, another stage that benefits greatly from having Rush Bike. This is definitely a stage where we start getting to see all the weapons that we have even so far get used in conjunction with one another. We immediately use Rush Bike just because the next screen has a little cutscene of Mega Man walking, and rather than Mega Man walking, we're going to have Mega Man riding a bike to that trapdoor. So again, the Rush Bike, there's a timer there. That's how long we get to ride Rush. Every time we get hit, that timer goes down by about 5 seconds. So we don't want to get hit. We want to do fancy bike riding like that. Of course, we also get frozen in time and space if we get hit, so we don't want to get hit for those reasons too. That was a screen. We just don't want to do... We want nothing to do with that screen. We just want to slide through it and be gone. Rush automatically despawns there. This enemy is called Sissy Roll. That is its actual canonical name. I should mention Mega Ball has 2 angles that it can be fired off on. Kind of that low 30 to 45-ish degree angle, or that kind of high 60 degree angle. That's how I'm going to refer to them anyway. You just have to hold up. Again with the tornadoes instead of the Ice Wave. One day I will remember to hit L one extra time. So, as I was saying, we kind of get to see the weapons go together here. We have that Mega Ball section early. We immediately are using grenades to fire through Sniper Joe shields, the shielded enemies. We're going to start using Ice Wave, even if we fire it slightly early. Oh my goodness. And here's the climb. Let's hope we can do it. So those bells and those things coming out, some of those platforms kind of teleport you to the next level. It's supposed to be a puzzle to figure it out. And even if you know the answer, if you decide to hang around and just wait for it, that takes a very long time. There are kind of 2-cycle climbs, as it were, where you can take one of those teleporter boxes and still get it relatively quickly without having to do what I just did there. This single cycle climb is perfectly serviceable, right? But there are some tricks to it to manipulate enemy positioning that aren't necessarily intuitive the first few times you see it. Of course, if you also get knocked out of the air or something else goes wrong, maybe you don't have enough Mega Balls for some reason, it's very easy to take it that way. Clown Man, we pelted him with a lot of Mega Buster shots because Clown Man does have a stun animation, and it just takes a lot of time and iframes to go through that stun animation, so we don't let him get into the stun animation. We want to hit him with the tornado, and specifically the tornado, not the blade, when he's on the ground. And that's that fight. So we skipped the infamous cutscene. And we're now kind of in this duo intermission middle stage. I don't know what to call it. where Duo has discovered where the evil energy that Dr. Wily's using to fuel his robots is by Wily's castle, and he has come to stop Dr. Wily. I am not joking. Ow. Wow. So this fight, you basically want to keep hitting Duo. Charge shots will do 2 points of damage. Everything else does 1. So there's a few fights in the game that work out this way. You want to have Duo living in an explosion while you charge your Buster as much as possible. So here we go, right? The split timer was at about 8 when we gained control, and we're going to go shopping. After you defeat the first 4 Robot Masters, the second half of the shop opens up. There's the Hyper Slider for 5. Good luck, Mega Man. And that drastically increases the speed of our slide. So for about 20 seconds, we get to go a lot faster. I'm going to ask for at least a little bit of serious-ish time here, just out of these screens are kind of annoying, kind of precise with the cycles of the disappearing blocks. Sometimes I forget which one is which. Trying to drop these ice waves on the floor spines without getting knocked into the abyss. There is a trick here. It's not very consistent, where you can ball jump back up to get under that gate. It saves, what, like about 7 seconds that I just took to run around in a circle. And the tower climb. Not too much going on here, just your typical automatically scrolling section. You want to make sure you don't get caught in the glue. You want to make sure you have enough room to jump. Mega Ball in general is your friend in this game. Because anytime there's a weird looking jump, you could just do that. The tornado hold similarly can pick up Mega Man and help interesting jumps happen. Whoa, grab the ladder. With the purchase of the Hyper Slider, we no longer have a use for bolts, so there are a few we're just going to go by. I'm told there actually used to be an old route for this game where you would go and get the quick charge. This is, in my opinion, the worst room in the game, so... Whoa. So if we decided to go for it there, we very likely would have eaten to death. That screen gets very dicey if you make a mistake. And sliding into that enemy was a mistake. Like, the cycle to be able to make the slide off the next platform is just really tight. Come on, Mega Man, get up here. You're making me look bad for the submission video. There we go. So Astro Man, now that we've had our kind of bad second half of Astro, and we've taken a lot of damage, which is not great. Astro Man can decide to be very nice and duck down so we can hit him, or Astro Man can teleport around using Astro Crush and do all sorts of damage as we attempt to do a few points of damage to him. Let's see what happens. Astro Man's being a jerk. A really big jerk. Alright, this is the good pattern. So, the second half of this game... robots... There's 4 Robot Masters in each half of the game, right? And, they kind of have weaknesses that work in 2 cycles of 4. The first 4 robots have two weapons that do 2 points of damage to some of the robots in the second half. Grenade on Astro is one of them. The other is Ice on Swordman. Swordman is kind of impossible almost to hit with Ice Wave effectively. So we come here first to get the extra damage. Also, Astro Crush is just a good weapon. From here on out, there's really not too much about the second half of the game weapons. We're going to be pretty much using our first half of the game. Grenade is just too powerful. Also, by the way, Mega Man can swim for some reason in this game. But yeah, the first half of the game's utility is just too good, so we will use that. I wasn't sure I was going to actually make the platform. Shouts to Mario 1 swimming, by the way, because you have no sort of height control with how powerful your swim strokes are. This is easily the worst mid-boss in this entire game. It can decide to just live behind the waterfall and just not do anything. Last run I did, thinking of submission videos, it actually did not go behind the waterfall at all, which is probably like one of the first and only times I've ever seen that happen. We didn't kill it fast enough. We missed the frame rule bus, so we had to go down the big waterfall there. Second half of Aquaman stage is fairly cut and dry. The biggest thing that's going to happen is there's a fall, not a climb. And there are some spots we can work our way between the bomb platforms. So we will try and do that. A little bit of damage boosting going on there, just sliding over the non-lethal spikes. This is Aquaman. Aquaman is weak to Astro Crush, but we're going to mix in some of the Buster charging here because we just don't have quite enough Astro Crush to finish the job. So again, this game, letting you have this dedicated Buster button comes through again, almost like this one's probably intended. Swordman stage is actually our next stage, and it's worth talking about a little bit before we get there. It's kind of unique in the series, given that Mega Man 8 has this sort of setup where we know if we're in Swordman stage, we've defeated the first 4 Robot Masters. Mega Man games, kind of famously because of their nature of you have the freedom to select where you go, everything has to be beatable Buster only, right? Well, wait, in Swordman stage, we know we're going to have Grenade, Strike Chain, Ice Wave, and Tornado Hold. So they actually kind of made a stage with puzzles where you kind of have to understand how those weapons work. Works a little bit in our classic sort of like level design tutorial, hey, did you know this weapon could do this kind of way. Also just works for a nice change of pace. Of course, we're going to go directly into the Strike Chain puzzle and start using Ice Wave a lot. Strike Chain can do that, though, which is kind of neat. Make sure you hit those switches. A lot of people come through here and like the first thing they do is miss that switch. So Tornado Hold is kind of neat in that they kind of know they want to show that you can use Tornado Hold to go up. If you haven't figured it out by now, there you go. Again, we got a lot of just using hyper slider, moving around fast, ball jumping up ladders, because who wants to do that? You want to kind of see this flash bomb mechanic doesn't come into play like ever, except here when it's lighting up this room. I think we had red, green, yellow. Cool, we had red, green, yellow. And of course, Ice Wave is just overpowered. They have nice pictures of the weapons there too. So next mid-boss is Gearna Eye, which I'm told has a strat that resembles a quick kill, and I'm very rarely able to actually get it. So water balloon does a fair amount of damage. I think I want to make sure I'm hitting the top part of its hitbox, and that's probably what's going on. Once the screen is shaking, it is done. Second half of the stage is a lot of perilous looking Mega Ball jumps. Whoa. And that's not even the most dangerous version of that Mega Ball jump. There's a few of them. Just gotta be careful on the boat here because lava hurts. There are lots of like little things you might be noticing in the background that are for extra bolts, which again, we don't really care about collecting bolts today. And this is Swordman. Swordman might use Fire Slash and take a long time crossing the screen while we can't hurt him, so we want to be between Swordman and the wall pretty much at all times, including right now. Pretty much if Swordman is against the wall, he won't Fire Slash into the wall. And if Swordman is close to the wall and not really against it, kind of like his starting position, it's better for Swordman to go to the closer wall than across the entire screen. Unfortunately, that means we need to eat a lot of damage for a fast Swordman fight. So don't get hurt.
I'm Searchman, okay?
Searchman has great music and our last rush bike usage, so I'm going to let you just listen to the music.
Ready.
Yeah. A second half of Searchman stage has 3 long screens in it, and they're pretty much all answered by use Ice Wave. Again, climbing, we don't like ladders, they're slow. It turns out even using strike chains kind of slow. Ooh, that one was scary. Strike chain is still slow, although we give it a break on that screen. If you're crazy, you can actually Mega Ball jump through that screen. Searchman himself does actually do a lot of damage. So our objective is to hit him with Flame Sword so much he doesn't have a chance to do all that damage. The sword is nice because of this really long animation with an active hitbox. Did not want to deal with those, I don't even know what to call those weapons bouncing back and forth on the screen. I just know you can destroy them with a fire sword, so I did. So that is our 8 robots. And with that, in this game, we actually skipped a movie where they canonically even say we have powered, by defeating the robots, we have powered down the shield to Dr. Wily's castle. So we can actually enter the damn thing. Of course, as our prize, we get to once again ride the jump, jump, slide, slide sled. This time at a faster speed with some much more perilous looking jumps. Which, as I said earlier, Mega Ball jumping is your bailout maneuver. If something goes wrong, you can always use the ball jump. Some nice warm-up jumps here. And now we speed up. It's less difficulty and more like just focus that's kind of needed for this section, so commentary slows down a little bit here for me. You see a lot of runners do something here, whether it's Astro Crush or some Fire Sword tricks, to basically not even deal with that last section. This is definitely a strike chain intended section, and we're going to use a lot of Mega Ball to help out. Not that strike chain grappling isn't not fun. You know what I mean. This is Atanamino. I think that's its name. We're going to try and get the quick hit here as soon as Mega Man starts moving. Save a cycle. Nice. So it can decide it wants to spawn fast or slow. Of course, it can't make that decision at all until you've destroyed all the pieces. You definitely want to make sure you hit the boss itself every cycle as soon as possible. Not so much because it makes a particular difference, because you want to hit everything anyway. You just want to make sure that you get that hit. Yeah. It was actually the last run, which was draft 1 of the submission video, where I had this ridiculously green split there. And I don't think I did that much different in the fight itself. And there's like a 10-second gap, so there's your RNG differential. Maybe a little bit of execution. We have one more sort of shmup rush jet auto-scroller section coming up here. There's actually a death warp at the end of it, so we want to figure out how we're going to lose all of our health on the way. So we still have this section first. Where we want to just get through here relatively quickly. Yes, we know that we're going to be taking a lot of damage in anticipation of eating a death, but we still want to get to the auto-scroller fast. That's the only part of the stage we can control how fast we go. It doesn't matter how fast we take our damage here. Here's Auto, the champion. firing his really slow-moving missile at a low rate of fire across the screen. I'm going to take one more hit here. I'm pretty sure I don't want to take any more damage. So this is why Astra was equipped. Astro, of course, is our screen-clearing weapon. So, what is the Death Warp? There's a point where we're going to hit a checkpoint, except the game spawns us literally like 20 seconds of auto-scroller after the point where we take that death. And we are going to take advantage of that fact. Thank you, I believe it was Clear Tonic who picked that up. Some people will not pick up any of the power-ups, friends here, because they don't want any extra enemies dying and accidentally give them a drop. I obviously have the opposite opinion. I want them shooting everything possible for me. So right about there, taking a death there, for some reason you save like 16 seconds or something ridiculous like that. This is Blyking. Blyking is a jerk. If Blyking opens those wings that are going up and down on the screen, the spinning ones, we can damage it. If Blyking opens these tail wings, we can't do damage to that life meter. So all we can do is kind of damage them in the hopes that if we kill them, you won't be able to use them again. If we see the laser, we can get a third hit in with Astro. Each usage of Astro does 2 points of damage. And we didn't get that hit, so here we go. Let the fun begin. Yeah, that's not too bad. That pattern is the one where you can actually hit with 3 full uses of Astro Crush, so when you don't see that as one of the first few patterns, it's totally a troll. If you see it as the third one, it's not that bad because you would have finished the fight there anyway without it, but you want to see it. So Wily 3 is therefore kind of the real Wily stage, where we get some platforming and things are kind of rough. Maybe not that rough, because we're gonna use a lot of balls to climb. That felt spooky. Whew. Lots of fast weapon swap to deal with all the enemies in the way. Lots of ball jumping to save having to ride those red walking bombs across the spikes because they're slow. Also, unlike most floors, where even if the ball falls down, you can still bounce off of it, the spikes will blow up your Mega Ball. So if you don't make that slide ball jump, it's over. So base. Base takes 1 point of damage from damn near everything. So kind of like other things, we want to keep base and iframes as much as possible. It's one of these buttons. That's really unfortunate because you can see that slow movement speed. If we were able to, it's like base rushed to the middle of the room specifically to not get hit with that. Anyway, here's the second half of the stage. We have 2 Mega Balls. That's not enough. Last section is kind of spooky. Anyway, this game does have Mega Man in its title, so we are legally required to have a Wily Castle boss that is some sort of yellow devil-ish thing. This thing is canonically named Green Devil. If you're looking at my splits, you've already figured out its actual name that we call it is Jello Devil. I'll leave it up to you to figure out why. We have to shoot the opening here to kind of expose that weak point. At which point we stand here for superstition purposes with that toe kind of just on that bar. Sometimes you don't get a pattern that's bad like this out of that. Many times you do anyway. Anyway, anything other than it just reappearing is a time loss. It can just reappear. We're waiting for the jiggle. Ba-dum. That means if you shoot it before that, the grenade is likely to kind of get inside its hitbox before it appears, and it will then damage the eye. It does a lot less damage to the eye than the strike chain, so you end up with extra cycles out of that, and then you're sad. So, also, this is a Mega Man game. We have to go to some sort of teleporter room and fight all the bosses all over again. So that's pretty much all that's left in the run at this point. There's not a lot of decision-making here. The biggest thing we're going to do is fight Swordman first because, as we mentioned in the Swordman fight, you're going to take a lot of damage fighting Swordman. Maybe we'll get to see Fire Slash this time. Hopefully, for time purposes, we don't. And, the only other difference between a lot of the boss fights is we want to be as close to them as possible at the end of the fight just to be able to grab the health and get out of there. If the health appears, you must grab it. The kind of exceptions to that are Tengu Man, I guess hypothetically could drop it into the pit. Then there's a weird situation with Grenade Man where you might not see the health. Of course, especially after fighting Swordman, we want to see that health. You know, the sword has this giant active hitbox. That whole animation is pretty much always active. So the only comments about order here, again, Swordman first. You want to be able to get that full slide in across the bottom. You actually want to jump into the teleporters out of a slide, which I haven't been doing. Saves like a second every time you do it. Aquaman's giving me the bad knockback pattern. You gotta be a little mindful of that when you come in here with low health. So, our two boss fights that are different because we actually have their true weakness now. Here's Astro Man. When Astro Man gets targeted by the homing sniper, he freezes and says, "How'd that happen?" If you're playing on the Japanese version, he says, "Itayo," whatever that means. So we're getting trolled because you want to see Astro Man dive. That we can do this. So it's not as bad as the first fight with Astro Crush because we can break him out of it. But if he just keeps using it, that's still just a lot of time loss because we could have been just pummeling him with the homing snipers the entire time. Grenade Man, which will be our next fight, is the only other one that's kind of different. Although even then, like, Strike Chain is not a very interesting weakness attack. There's no real flinch. The most interesting thing we can do is actually reflect his flash bombs back at him. And his flash bombs will do weakness damage to himself. And that will also force him to use the Heat Rush run across the bottom of the screen pattern. We need 10 hits. So what we kind of want to do, at least for fun and swag purposes, is kill him as he's using Crazy Destroyer to blow up the floor. We did not, but we killed him still pretty fast. There you go. The ball jump up there to tag him with it's actually kind of fun. So Clown Man and Tengu Man, same fight.
Weakling, this isn't a joking
I
matter.
do want to try and hit him with the Buster Shot. I don't think we even tried that last time. Yeah, there we go. So again, you don't want to hit him with the Fan Blade. And it has enough wind up that when he's running across the floor, just use the Buster Shot. So we're working that you can work a charge while weapons on the screen angle a lot. Let's not miss Tengu Man with ice this time. Because again, it's actually kind of hard to hit him with ice in the air. It's a devastating attack. It does 6 out of his 40 hit points of damage. And you want him to be on the floor. There you go. You want him to be on the ground, but if it's going to blow him up, you don't need to lock him on the floor, so. The RNG of refights, and that's like with Astro Man just 100% being a jerk to us. So this is going to leave us with Wily Machine, Wily Capsule. Wily Machine takes 2 points of damage from a whole collection of things. Flame Sword, Water Balloon, and Astro per hit. Also full charge Buster Shots. So we're going to kind of work an Aquaman strategy here to open things up. You might only hit with one of those. One for out. Again with a Fire Sword. Working this just long active hitbox to our advantage. This is not going to be a PB by any stretch, so we're just going to work in Rush Medic here just to kind of show off the safety strat. It's very possible to get here and be in a low health situation where you might have to do the whole fight again. Get on like a PB attempt. It's a little bit of oh well. Whoa. I'm getting mixed up with which weapon I want to refill, if any. So, Grenade is the weapon of choice here. You basically want Mega Man to be in as good a position as possible to fire the grenade and just hit Wily as soon as he becomes vulnerable, like that. Mega Man 7 pattern. And you have other situations like the one a couple of hits ago where if you're just in a bad position, there's really nothing you can do. Wily appears in like 6 or 8 kind of positions, but loosely you can kind of think of it as one of the 4 corners of the screen or high-low in the middle. Ah. How many grenades did I just waste? Don't answer that question. There we go. 2 more? Last Mega Ball. Hey. And that is Mega Man 8. It's a really good game. It gets a lot of flack for some of those cutscenes and everything else that we basically didn't watch. But the movement tech's really cool. It's a lot of fun. We really enjoy this game, and we hope to get it out there on the big stage. You know how it is. Just a couple of other random notes about various submissions that may or may not actually be happening as we're making plans while I'm recording this. This may very well be a standalone Mega Man 8 any % submission, in which case, there you go. This might be a race. In the event of a race, as I kind of mentioned early on, this is a PlayStation 1 game being played on a PlayStation 2 with fast disk speed turned on. That said, fast disk speed is only needed for the load times between stages. It doesn't actually impact anything else, so if for some reason we have to do on not fast disk speed or on a PlayStation 1, it's absolutely fine. It doesn't affect the run otherwise. Legacy Collection 2, the recent release from Capcom, recent, like a few years ago now, but whatever. The time is comparable. The leaderboard split for a couple of various other reasons, but a lot of people have low 50s in both games, and so putting them in a race against each other is absolutely fine. This might be in there as part of a relay race type submission. In that scenario, obviously, we probably want to talk about where this one lands because it's the only disc-based PlayStation game in the lineup. And again, between PlayStations and PCs, because Legacy Collection is available on PC, there's a lot of flexibility for how this could work out. This video was on PlayStation 2, sort of the default category, although Legacy Collection 2 is getting a lot more love recently just as the more accessible version of the game. So yeah, this was Mega Man 8. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you at the end of submissions. See you in Pittsburgh. Can't wait.
So hard for justice. With your help, this planet will.
And thanks again, Fred, for the raid in the middle of this. Thanks everybody else who hung out and watched this. I hope this was informative, even if it wasn't necessarily a.
What happened, Mega Man?
I don't bring the hype sometimes.
He will regain consciousness soon.
We have other people on the couch to talk about hype.
You must go. I'll leave Mega Man up to you.
But such is a Mega Man 8 run.
But there's one more thing.
As long as everyone is here.
I have a favor to ask.